Hello, hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Live. I am your host, Jarod, the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs. The link to join and call in and help decompress from this beautiful, tragic episode is in the live chat right now. Let me actually throw it in the Twitter real quick before I forget, because we are live there as well. Live on YouTube, Twitch, what the fuck is Twitch? Twitch and Twitter. Getting ready to just unpack everything we just witnessed. This show, Leslie Headland talked about onions and layers and all of that wonderful stuff. And the thing that I find myself so kind of enraptured by, and we're going to talk about this, I just need to say this before I forget to, is that for every time the show has zigged when we thought it would zag, there have also been moments where we overcomplicated to a zog, and it still just zigged. And that this was so much less sordid and complicated and brutal than I think a lot of us anticipated. And it kind of came home to a really beautiful, bittersweet place. And I'm really excited to unpack that tonight. But I am not alone. We are joined by one Buck O'Brien, $5.
Hello. How we doing?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Other than being really hot and having to deal with the VA earlier today, I am having a really good time with the show. This just made the day perfect. I love it. It's complicated. It's complicated.
It is complicated. It's in many ways, it's simpler than we thought it was.
Right.
But there are really particular nuances that make this a lot harder. Because I think a lot of us were expecting, I had been politely chastised by my lovely girlfriend, who I can hear watching in the living room. She kind of said, "You're going a step too far," because I kind of I at one point jokingly said, I think this might turn into Space Jonestown, and that Mother Coral might get very they're not gonna take us alive type thing. And I started
almost went that way.
It almost went that way, and I started to be maybe it's a little bit more Space Waco. And it does have kind of elements of that. Yes, congratulations to everybody here. It took me 3 minutes to compare something to some type of weird militia conspiracy bullshit. If you're new here, get used to that. I got a couple Alex Jones clips on deck. But yeah, it's just, there's so much here. So we are going to bring in, we got two more callers, actually, one of whom a first-time caller, long-time dear friend. So first we're going to start with other $5 patron, Eli. What's going on, big homie?
Coming to you live from the quarantine, baby.
Yeah, he's got the vid. He's got the blue shadow virus.
I got the blue shadow.
Unclean.
I got the blue shadow virus, and wow, what an episode we saw today.
Dr. Vindy don't fuck around.
I will say, with reference to my name in here, I will 100% admit, as that fire was going, I was just singing to myself, "Burn, baby, burn, da 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 da, burn."
So,
baby.
Really funny thing, and then I'm going to bring on my next guest. I promise. I just need to tell this story before I forget it. So, longtime listeners know I listen to this podcast called Knowledge Fight religiously. And Knowledge Fight is this group of guys who litigiously watch and debunk Alex Jones's work. and it was the episode where they were covering the time where it looked like he was about to have everything liquidated right before it happened, but when he found out it's probably going to happen. And he has these guys on, and they're arguing with Alex about flat Earth. These guys are flat Earthers. Alex Jones is not, and they're showing him this documentary about Tartaria.
Wait, there's a conspiracy theory that Alex Jones doesn't believe it.
There's a lot, actually, and that's really complicated, and we don't have time for that because this episode was too much for me to get too locked on this. But they're talking about like all this stuff, and there's this one sticking point in this documentary that Eddie Bravo and all these flat earthers keep bringing up, and they're like, "Yeah, man, stone buildings can't burn, man." Real quick, I just want to call attention to there's a chatter named Squatch, and then specifically said Knowledge Fight, never heard of them. And I was gonna make a for the Squatch there are no heroes joke, and you are clearly a policy wonk. So go home to your mother, tell her you're brilliant. But so Alex is just so fucking frustrated listening to these guys, and he's like holding his head in his hands. I don't know if anybody can hear Taylor.
You need to get her just a microphone that she can turn on.
Right?
Mouse in the chat for that one.
But Alex is holding his head, and they're like, "Stone buildings don't burn, Alex." And Alex Jones is like, "Stone buildings have wooden rudders and tapestries. Stone buildings burn to the fucking ground, Eddie." And he says it just like that. And then the day after that episode came out was episode 3 of The Acolyte, where a bunch of Phantom Menace weirdos are like, "I don't understand how stone burns." And I was like, "Stone buildings burn to the fucking ground, Eddie."
Anyway, I knew where this was going. I knew where this was going because I heard this before.
Listen
and
to
I love
Alex
it.
Jones, something I never thought that Jarod would tell Phantom Menacers to do.
Yes, listen to Alex Jones.
Listen to Alex Jones.
But
he's right on this one thing.
That's going to get clipped, and I know who's going to clip it. Dear old friend of mine and also a patron, Ange, what's going on, bud?
Hey! I am not equipped for any type of streaming thing at all, so I apologize if my audio quality is absolute shit.
You sound great, actually.
Oh, okay. Solid.
I hear you just fine.
Yep.
So, Ange, the three of us have talked ad nauseum about this season so far. So I'm just going to give you the floor. Tell us how you're feeling about the series so far, this episode. The floor is yours, dear friend.
I mean, I've been pretty snippy in the comments every now and again.
You have been, and I welcome it. I need it to keep me humble.
Oh, somebody has to.
They're coming.
We knock them down a peg or two.
They're coming for all the job.
Anyway, so I mean, after today, I just kind of sat in silence for probably like 10 minutes, I think. Like, just, I don't know how to have coherent thoughts after, like, I like hearing what other people are saying, and I've been able to like jump off of that, but I'm just so like, I think I was expecting Soul to be Soul and do pretty much what he did, but I was not expecting how blatant some of it was, and like mixing up the twins at one point. Like that I have thoughts on that. I don't think Soul is connecting to Osha the way he thinks he is. I think he's connecting to May.
Sup, Nick?
And I'm thrilled overall with this. This is the most excited I've been about a Star Wars TV project for a very long time. But like I it's the High Republic, and I love the High Republic. I haven't gotten as much into the like phase 1. I read just about everything, and phase 2 I didn't get quite as deep into. But yeah, I'm big on the High Republic stuff. So I'm just really enjoying this, like going for the ride with it. But I have been there have been multiple times where I've ranted after an episode to my partner, where it very much like the style of ranting of like, her sister was a witch, bro. You're gonna tell me I'm wrong?
A style of ranting very well.
Get educated
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you completely. Like, I think that, you know, like we were saying up top, the thing that that, you know, Buck and I were talking about here for a moment is that there are so I think we, as a fandom, as we tend to do, overcomplicated the potential answers, and I think that there was going to be a whole lot of no obvious Star Wars puns intended here, but a lot of who shot first discourse, a lot of who drew their sword first, who knocked an arrow first, who whatever. That like we were like, okay, so like this is going to put the blame on them, and that we very much from the witch's perspective in the third episode went, oh yeah, the Jedi have been spying on the witches the whole time, right? Like we very much like assumed, myself included. I think we all kind of took for granted the idea that the Jedi stationed on Brendok were on a fact-finding mission about these witches, and that they
Not
were
about the witches.
had nothing to do with them. They were like,
No.
there's some weird force shit happening out there. We should look
That
into
blew my mind, and we still don't have all the answers.
And we still don't. And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I know
Yeah.
that we don't have the official season 2. They're probably going to do one, but like, I think that like leaving up this whole idea of, yeah, they cracked the code. They figured it out. Like that can be a whole season in and of itself. I think it deserves an entire season of television to try to unpack that.
Something happening to this planet
Yeah.
after the hyperspace disaster with, it's just after the legacy run. You're like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, I paused it. I gasped, and then Taylor looked at me, and I paused it, and I was like, "Okay." So and I kind of went for it, and then I realized halfway through, I literally described it as the Joe Biden. It was like 15/9/11's meme, and it's like, it's what it was. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, yes.
I mean, yeah, like in a not jokey way at all. That is
it was.
what happened.
Yeah,
On a
no,
planetary scale.
Yeah, that is very true. Actually, holy crap!
Did you see there was a round, it looked like a rounded metal thing like in the Jedi camp that was pretty overgrown. Like, was that a part of like a wreckage or something?
I think so. I think so.
That's
I
what
agree
I
with
thought
you.
that was meant to be.
yeah.
Like
A hunk
There's
of
one
the
near,
detail that they went to.
and there's one near the Bunta tree, which also
Yeah.
blew my mind. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just so fascinating. And again, Ange, like you were saying, like this whole through line with Soul, and that this was a lot more myopic for him
Yeah.
than I think a lot of us expected. Because we can see that what he's preaching, what he wants to be about, he is clearly, at least for the most part, grown into that. He has grown into that very like aware of what's around him and very cerebral Jedi. But like there is this element of him believing his own hype. And again, one of the really fascinating reversals the show has done is that when you look at the very first episode, and you look at again the way that a lot of fans, myself included here, perceived Indara, and then again in the third episode, that there is this stuffiness, that there is a dismissiveness with her in the way that she's like child to May on the in that bar, and in the way that she very is quick to kind of try to big dick the witches with the whole, well, the Republic law does dictate that we get first pickings at all those Force sensitive children. That all of those, that she is so quick with all of that, that when we pull back and we look at this moment here, and then we can compare that to how soft and tender Soul seems in the moment, juxtapose that with what's actually happening. And it's Indara trying to be, as I was describing what I thought Soul had did in so much of my coverage of this show, where I was like, oh, Soul's the only adult in the room. Indara is the only fucking adult in the room.
Yeah.
In the room.
Well,
Yeah.
So many people owe Indara such a big apology.
Absolutely.
They really do.
And
Although she is still kind of
admit,
cunty. I'm sorry.
I will
No,
fully admit I am chief
absolutely,
among them.
but like not any more than the
Yeah.
rest of them.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
absolutely not.
I am chief among them who owe Indara quite a bit of an apology, because I thought she was guilty as charged. But no, she like, I think there were, I will also say, shout out to, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, the council. the council had the right idea on this one.
Yeah.
The
I
council actually
blew my mind that but I was so happy and vindicated because again, it was the Jedi who were making the council making the right choice, the seemingly right choice in the moment. Although, is it Coral who does, or somebody does call it out, you're going to let her be raised by an institution as opposed to family,
Yeah,
which is a good.
Anastasia
It's all right, isn't it? I knew it was one of the moms, and I was like, that's a good dig. That I'm like, I can't. But as someone who has worked with teens and kids for going on a decade, and having been the person to make the call that to have a health and wellness check because of shit not seeming right at home, it's a hard thing to do because you're like, it could just not look right from the outside, but I don't know.
Yeah.
How do I protect these kids?
Yeah.
And then so I side with Saul on that because it is hard not to try and do the thing that you're like, these are the pieces I know, this is the information I have, but how do I protect the kids? Because in this moment, it sounds like they're about ready to be sacrificed, and he is right to try and save them, even if he goes about it the wrong way.
And look, here's the thing: we can talk about the institution, like the institution or the family thing. Who says that can't be switched right around back at them?
Exactly.
Well, that brings me to a comment I just got on the Twitter version of the stream. Gabriel Whitaker said, "Is it a family or a cult? Lol. Let's call it what it is." But again,
what is it?
That again, as
don't really know.
As the Jedi hardliner, I can't.
And
say
I am too.
And I can't with a straight face tell you that what is it? The deranged monks. There's that sword cuts both ways, and I love. Fucking love, and I'm sorry, and I know, what Phantom Menace people come for me. I'm ready for all takers. I am confident that I love Jon Favreau. I love Dave Filoni. I love their work. This I don't want to do a smashing action figures together fucking conversation, any of that shit. I do not see a version of a show written by I'm picking them out of a hat, just by comparison, that would have honed in on the soul. Come on, cultural markings are a fucking thing across the galaxy, man.
Mm-hmm.
She is so quick to be like, you got fucking Zabraps, we got Miri Allins. Okay, she has
name drop the Night Sisters.
Yeah,
and their face markings are the same thing.
Yeah. So that just felt like a very particular thing that I could only see a writer's room this diverse, picking up on that being an idea to have that framing of the homogeny of the Jedi, despite the fact that so many cultural identifiers still exist within the Jedi. That we have Miri Allins, in this show with the markings. We have Zabrak, who still have their clan tattoos. It's still welcome and honored within the Jedi Order to represent your culture. Quinlan Voss. We have so many examples of that, but in this moment, with again that myopic
and Dara
zeroing in, and Dara with the little we have so many of those things that Soul is zeroing in on, because there is just this myopic arrogance to him that so many of us thought he was inculcated from. So many of us were like, "Oh, he's the Qui-Gon of this show," and it's like, you're sounding a little Coyote Mundi, bro.
I would not say he's Qui-Gon or Coyote Mundi on it. Honestly, I'd say because there's a lot.
He's closer to Anakin. He's closer to Anakin. His emotions are barely under the surface.
I was going similar direction, but the son. I'm thinking, I'm thinking he's there's a lot of stuff that reminds me of old Luke.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the obvious example is when he killed Anastasia. That read to me so much as for the briefest moment of pure instinct, I thought I could stop it. He didn't know what was going on. He reacted instinctively. Did he react well? No, but he it
was a threat.
He thought it was a threat. Whipped his lightsaber out. And then she was like, "Well, I was actually going to do what you wanted." And he was like,
"Fuck."
Oh no.
Well, and I think
no.
Too, what Indara said towards the end, as far as he wanted to go in front of the council, which yes, all protocol, he should have done that. They should not have covered that up. That was a bad. But saying that why would you do that to her? Like, who are you, when you are saying you want to go in front of the council, are you trying to absolve yourself of this horrible thing that you did, or are you trying to actually do what's right? Because now you've totally uprooted this kid from everything she's ever known, and somebody has to take care of her. And like, now Indara kind of absolving herself of that responsibility too in that moment.
She makes sort of the right choice for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
It's so complicated.
Where like we had a lot of like making the wrong choices for the right reasons. She was making the wrong choices for the right or the right choices for the wrong reasons.
You're just like, oh, damn it, Dara, what are you doing?
Well,
but it does feel like going to the council feels a bit like, oh, I'm just gonna go to confessional and I'm gonna, pray my sins away and say some Hail Marys and I'll be fine. Well, I just killed somebody. It's no big deal.
A couple things on that I just love that it all just kind of like quick discussion. One, throwing to temptation of the force, we get that. We get Elzar Mann trying to Angie, have you read?
It's early. It's early in the book.
Yet, but I'm fine with spoilers on stuff.
Okay.
That's not something that bothers me.
Like Buck said, also early in the book. So I didn't want okay. Like Elzar Mann, they're like, hey, Elzar, you want Stellan's seat? And then Elzar's like, oh, funny you mention it. I murdered a woman in cold fucking blood. And I'm really sorry about it. And I don't think I'm cut out for the job. And the whole council's like, damn, that fucking sucks. Why'd you do it? Well, I thought she was Nile and trying to bring the ship down. You fucked up, but we all fucked up. We've all been fucking up. It's okay. Which is beautiful in a way. But we see that here with Soul, that I think there's a part of him that's like, I don't get it. And again, going back to the nuances of everything that's happened here, we were expecting this to be so much more complicated as to who tried to use any amount of force, lowercase or capital F, in this confrontation, where it is, again, a lot more clear cut. It's complicated in different ways than we thought it was. Like, I can't with a straight face tell you that, to borrow a term that gets thrown around in Law and Order SVU a lot, that what Soul did was a bad shoot. I cannot look you in the eye and say,
as a veteran in that situation, I can't say that I wouldn't have pulled the trigger.
Like you're surrounded by all these people with knocked arrows, and then she turned into a motherfucking smoke monster as the child started to like Thanos snap away in front of you. Like, I can't tell you he did obviously we know in moments after he does it, at the same time he does that, he made the wrong call. But I can't tell you that I wouldn't have gone, she's disappearing the child and she's turned into a fucking demon.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you that was wrong.
He assesses he still assesses the situation before he stabs her. Like, he's still like, it's not like he just does it. Like, he assesses the situation and does the math in his head as fast as he can in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's not like he just impulsive.
He still did the wrong.
He still did the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But he still assessed the situation, and it's crazy that this whole thing shows that like everybody except for maybe May is making wrong choices in this episode. Everybody is made some sort of mistake.
What I think is so beautiful, and I really hope they hone in on this, is that we have this whole situation where everybody is doing things that if they had a few minutes to think about, step back on, the witches, the Jedi, OSHA, I would argue even May as well, but like have things that if they took like a few minutes to step back from and say, yeah, I maybe wouldn't have done that in this situation. Yeah. But there's another player in this, of course, in the present day, which is the stranger. And what the stranger is doing, first to May, and I believe it's what he's going to try to do to OSHA as well, is perverting this horrible tragedy of a night for his own gain.
Oh, absolutely.
It comes down to Soul makes the most wrong choices at this whole thing for all of the wrong reasons as a Jedi, because he is already emotionally entangled and attached to not one but two potential Padawans, because he was very clear that he is muddling the two of them, and the fact that he's like very insistent about going and not consulting the council, the fact that he kills Mother Anastasia, the fact that he has to choose making the choice is difficult to save one or the other sister, and never telling Osha about that. Right, in her
Yeah.
head, and the last time we saw it, it did not look like that. The last time,
Yeah, we did not get the like
Right.
very Force Unleashed 2, Buck. Like, you know, hit the
Yes.
bumper to choose your ending.
Yes.
You know that it's like, and but even from Soul's perspective, like you're presented with this horrendous choice.
Mhm.
Do I like? I can't like. If I don't act, you both die. I can save the
Yeah.
one who I know wants to leave, or I can condemn her to death to save the one that would die to
Mhm.
stay. Like it's like but at the end of the day, you're juggling the lives of children, and that like it's oh my fucking god, this is so good.
It's not even that he
in-
chooses, right? It's the fact that it's like not just the weight of having to choose, but it's the fact that he then never tells the truth about it afterwards.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
never tells the truth, and then again, the stranger is coming in here, and I think this is what's going to be most important about this final episode is the stranger, as far as we know. I also agree with that. The stranger is going to come in with no personal stake that we know in this scenario, 0, and pervert this for his own gain. And that is, and maybe I'm just like reacting this way because I've seen a lot of people in reaction to the last episode saying pull up Woodsy's comment.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that. My thing,
Yeah,
slowing down on me.
this is it, and like there are a lot of people saying like, oh, I'm not sure how evil the stranger really is, and I'm like,
oh no, he's evil.
no, I'm like, do you remember the whole he's a Sith thing? And
yeah.
this is the true, like this is the true power is he's using this event to, and I know that there have been some debates and some certain interviews and blah 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 about whether he was actually doing this. He's using this to manipulate
Yes.
people into turning their fear and anger and hatred into action. It is such a brilliant Sith move.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's parallels there too in how Soul treated Osha with how now the stranger
All right,
is
Taylor.
treating Osha, in that like Soul said, let me try a different approach with Osha, and the stranger acknowledged like May didn't work out, like that didn't work how I thought it was going to work, so we're going to try this now. And I heard somebody else say, and I'm blanking on it now, that he's wearing a mask just in a different way now. He's not wearing the actual mask itself, but this like the act of him being naked almost and being like, see, I'm not hiding anything. He's still wearing a mask. It's just a different kind of mask.
Yeah.
And it's that absolute
sensational. That's his word.
Possibly know and use it against you at the worst possible time to turn you to my side. And like I love the parallels that they're drawing between those two in particular. Sorry, I could like rant about that for a while.
It's true. Just Jarod, can you pull that last Ray Clausen comment up? I just want to quickly. Bortles.
No, I think there is so much truth there, and like again, because like we have justifiably so been using a lot of like the therapy speak with the Chimera stuff, and again, like it does break my heart to see Soul that like whether he again, it's what makes this so complicated. And there's a Twitter comment I'm going to scroll back up to address because it ties into this, is that another thing the show has done so well is grappled with intent versus outcome, and that you have all the good intentions in the world. There's a very old saying about it. You can still fuck up, and that whether he's doing it intentionally, maliciously, whatever is in his heart when he's doing it, there is a very clear and present love bombing with Soul, with the test, with the
Yeah.
whole there's thousands like us. Like, and again, he's telling her the truth. It is what makes Soul, especially now with everything we know, so compelling, so complex, and so sympathetic. And again, this is the indictment of the Jedi, that I truly believe what I'm saying to you. I'm not.
Mhm.
There is no huckster, carny, fraud bullshit here. He is saying, in his opinion, the Force is honest truth, and it is just that it is so complicated. And I think we lost Eli because that one of him is frozen, and another one just joined.
Well, there's an interesting thing to be said about the fact that we're constantly
Yeah.
talking about how like emotionless and the Jedi are, and here's Soul with like his heart on his fucking sleeve,
Oh
and
yeah.
showing the dangers of being so emotional and not thinking things through. Because she talks about like you made these choices without thinking through any of the consequences, and she's talking to clearly the two youngest people on the team.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
you're young and you were not thinking this through, and I told you to think and stop and to not interfere, and there are reasons for that. There are certain rules in place for a reason. This is still a sovereign group. They still have their own right to choice, right? And you took that away from them by interfering, and
Yeah.
that's not okay. That's not. It's not like what people like to accuse the Jedi of that, but we're seeing very clearly that is not what the institution was trying to do. Right? It was the
Yeah.
choice of Soul, and he dragged everyone into it. And we know that Mother Anastaea's manipulation of Torben, where Corbin came, like being and getting
Corbin Blue?
enticing him with, so enticing him with that one thing that he wanted. He's got that Silas thing. I just want to be back on Coruscant. I don't want to be here. I want to be back with my books or whatever he's into. You know, and you entice a young kid, a young man, like with what he wants more than anything else. Of course, he's going to do things to make that happen faster. And like,
Yeah. Well, and like to also jump off of what you were saying about like people talk about the Jedi being emotionless and all of that. That, check me if I'm wrong, I think one of Soul's like first lines that we hear from him as like a teacher in the temple on Coruscant, he says to the younglings to trust your feelings. And I remember hearing that and clocking that as like, that's an interesting line coming from like, to make that one of the first lines we hear in a Jedi temple. And I might be misremembering it, but like I just, they've mentioned it a couple of times of like trusting your feelings. You hear the Jedi say reach out with your feelings.
Feel, don't think,
trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Instincts and feelings are different things.
Right. But like I don't know. I think that's such an interesting thing about Soul in particular, and like the like thinking of the changes in the growth of the Jedi, or maybe growth. I don't know. Maybe growth's not the right word, or growth in the wrong direction. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. I think helping the argument for the Jedi and the fact that like so many of my YouTube podcast friends will use the fact that the Jedi are quote unquote emotionless as an indictment to them, but like the fact that they're supposed to be in control over their emotions and not allowing them to influence them in making these strong decisions, there is a reason for that. It wasn't the fact that they're not allowed to feel, it's just that they're supposed to be in control of those feelings. And those are two different things that everyone likes to conflate.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, we're seeing the exact reason. 50 women are dead because Soul cannot keep his emotions bottled up for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's what you just said, Buck, and I'm going to bring up this Twitter comment. Is so good because like it gets to this common misconception of the Jedi that leads to so many half-baked interpretations of the text of Star Wars at large, which is this idea that the Jedi are emotionless, which makes them cold, which makes them unfeeling. And it's like, no, that like the Jedi, again, are they flawed? Yes, any institution of this size with this power is going to be fundamentally flawed in some way. It is not a matter of perfection. It's a matter of striving for those ideals. And when you see so many Jedi who get raked across the coals, like, for example, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
It was like, he's cold, he's a dick, he's an asshole. And it's like, no, he's just not taking the feelings of one individual and putting it above the greater good at all times. You know, that like we can more easily relate to somebody who flies off the fucking handle all the time, like Anakin Skywalker, because he is letting those superhuman emotions guide him to his own detriment, but because we see him exhibiting desire and romantic love and frustration in a way that we don't see from his superiors, because they've learned to control that stuff. And it's what leads to a lot of them being underappreciated and misunderstood, which is a not bad segue into one of the comments we got from Gabriel Whitaker on the Twitter side of things. The problem is inconsistency in the characters' personalities. I think that's where a lot of the frustration people are having with this show comes from. And then he follows that up. I say he. I can't see anybody's Twitter bios, so I'm assuming if I'm wrong, correct me. Indar was doing the right thing with the Jedi the whole time to keep the consistency. Should have agreed with Sol to turn him over to the Council, and I think that this is where, as a dear friend of the show, Alden Diaz loves to say, and he phrases it so well. So I am going to have to ape this from him. Characters in fiction make suboptimal decisions, and I think that this is a situation where where so many of the core themes are ramming into each other. On one hand, as Andrew talked about earlier, there is this very selfish, I need to throw myself at the feet of the council because I need to know that I was able to clean my hands of this and I'll accept my punishment. And that way I can just see, I did the right thing. I said, I'm sorry. You know, there's an element of I said, I'm sorry, let me go to that. We also see with Indara a very, it is the insufficiency of honesty of, yeah, sure, you can say all that. And now this whole ideal of the Jedi, the dream of the Jedi, if you will, that has been instilled into this child, we are now going to rip away from her the moment it became the last thing she could hold on to.
Yeah.
That is ideologically inconsistent in some ways, but that's because that is ideologically inconsistent in a very real and human way.
Well, she knows that if they tell the whole truth, the Jedi would definitely not take her in because of all of the tragedy surrounding this. If they choose to tell the entire truth, and it wasn't and they all made mistakes, and they show that Saul is emotionally unstable, that has attachments, and is making the wrong choices, they wouldn't have allowed her to be his Padawan, and they wouldn't have allowed her to be anyone's Padawan. So this girl would have been lost with absolutely nothing and no connections after the worst night of her life.
Woodsy, that's funny. I can't tell if you're doing a bit or if I have to debate you right now.
I was gonna say
that's why I shook my head earlier. I saw that. No,
that's
no, sorry, Woodsy.
No, you're absolutely right, Buck. Like there's this, it is so complicated because it's like, okay, like what am I supposed to do? Tell this kid you can't be her fucking master? What do you want me to do to this fucking kid now?
It's also like otherwise everything is.
And it makes more sense now, like with the whole with the interrogation from Jarod and Tassi in the first episode, why Indara wanted to discontinue the training. It's not because of her; it's because of Sol.
Yeah.
It was because I'm sure she was tired of. Okay, I know what really happened. Sol, you've been holding out on her way too long. Like I don't see what the point is if we're just going to keep hiding this from her.
Yeah.
It truly is so tragic. It truly is just so.
But like even with that, Eli, it left Osha feeling like she failed. She did something wrong, and so she had to leave.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and Osha's taking the blame for that, and we're seeing how that's going to be manipulated by the stranger.
Yeah.
I really hope, just for consistency's sake, because God, I'm getting sick of this because we've done Chimera, Darth Teeth, the Stranger. Just give him a Darth name in the last episode, I beg of you. Please, people.
I think
it'll be so much easier.
At this point, so encompasses what he is, and that like there's the stranger danger aspect of it, but also that like switch to like oh, this is a really nice person, and he's being really kind, and he's
I
leaving
understand that.
food and like doing things. It's that like odd. I don't know. There's just an oddness that's unsettling about him, and I think Stranger sums that up so well.
I want his Darth name to be some permutation of Stranger.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Though I really like the Darth Dientes more than Darth T.
Darth Dientes is
Darth Q or Darth Peterson, because apparently
No.
No.
You cannot kill a Jedi with a weapon. You must kill a Jedi.
PETR
apostrophe
PETR apostrophe SSON. We have to do
I was
Star
gonna
Wars
say
spell
throw
it.
a Y in there, but that's too Game of Thronesy. It's not as much Star Wars.
Yeah, I dig it though. I dig it. I like those little flourishes.
Hey, pull up Woodsley's last comment, just because I want to do this just because I feel like everybody, the internet needs to hear it now. Jarod, I said a joke into a group chat we were both in earlier this week. Do you happen to remember what it was?
Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
Yes, and I feel like the internet deserves to hear it now.
As a punishment, yes.
I'm already feeling punished.
I'm gonna read it. Yeah. Why did the Sith Triumvirate fail so hard?
Why did the Sith Triumvirate fail so hard?
Because the leader was cray cray.
Jesus fucking Christ. It was even worse hearing it. It was worse hearing it than reading it. But no, I mean, listen, again, and Eli, we know you don't. We know you hate Darth Treya the same way I hate Yoda. So we're going to be at an impasse here. But this is my show, so I get to say good things about Darth Treya. I'm pulling rank for a moment here as the host.
Just remember that's when I'm gonna remember this when I start TFU bashing on Theme Between Themes in a month. So
I know, yeah. Oh, I know. I have to buckle up for it. I love the Darth Treya's ideology so much for this specific reason. She is so fucking wrong. She is so dead fucking wrong. And she is so dead wrong in a way that she's like next door neighbors to the stranger. That it is that like, well, just do it, man. That I do love that though. And I think Woodsy is right. Like I think we're only a hop, skip, and a jump away from Chimere spitting the same game in Osh's ear. The only difference is that Chimere is too drunk on the power of the Force to want to do this whole very nihilistic, no pun intended there, like this like entropy of the Force, to desire this destruction of it at its core. Like that's the only thing keeping him from that, is that he is just so drunk on his own power and is so obsessed with it. And that is kind of the core of his own ideology, is obsession with his own power.
Do we think that he actually is wanting an apprentice, or do we think he actually wants the answer for what's going on with his virgins on Brent?
I think
he wants
is yes. I think he
wants an acolyte. I think he wants an acolyte to overthrow his master. I
think there's that. I also think that there is this idea that he sees in the twins such incredible potential, both for himself and in, well, you'd be an incredible fucking student, like you have these absurd M counts. And again, and I can't believe I said the dirty word. Midi-chlorians are fucking midi-chlorians. I've been M count killed. Fuck.
Disney is determined to like redo the.
They said M count today.
Really
they did. Although I say Jared and I were on a call with some friends earlier. We do know that they actually have said midichlorian since the Disney canon reset.
Yeah.
Bad Batch.
Yeah, Venture says
yes. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna full screen myself for a second because I just need to.
But the Jedi should say.
Y'all, listen. I'm not here to even remotely entertain any fandom menace talking point bullshit. So I apologize for the words I'm about to say. You are disrespecting George's vision every time you say M count. Like, it is starting to piss me off a little bit.
Ding,
Like,
ding, ding, ding,
like
ding.
when it's a room full of scientists taking this very clinical, surgical view with the Force, fine. I better never hear another motherfucking Jedi Knight say the words M count ever again.
Preach.
I'm sorry. Like, those are
It
one
made
of
me
those like
mad.
little things. Those are one of those little things. And Ange has known me like
I knew baby Star Wars, Jarod.
she knew baby me. They knew baby fucking Jarod, okay? And it's shit like this that has always gotten my fucking goat. Just say midi-chlorian, you fucking cowards.
Jarod.
There's
Literally no reason. There's no
anymore.
reason a Jedi shouldn't say the word.
There is no reason, but Jarod, I will just say to you, okay? I'm not saying that you're wrong, because you're not wrong. But also, I feel like on the other hand, they did give you red lightsaber Anakin Skywalker last year.
They did give me Anakin Skywalker with a red lightsaber, so I can't be that mad, but I can't sell my soul that easily, Eli. I got the one thing I've wanted since 2005 is to see Hayden Christensen with a red lightsaber, okay? I got it. But on principle, I gotta make a big deal out of M count. I gotta make a big deal out of fucking M count, man.
Can we talk about the fact that we might have some part of an answer what's going with Ocean May? The fact that they talk about their M counts were exactly the same, which they thought should not have been a thing.
Midi-chlorian counts. Midi-chlorian counts.
Yeah.
I
just quoted them.
I really wonder if
but then they're
it's
taking
something
it,
of,
then
like-
taking.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, but they said the idea that they said that there was like the idea of like taking one personality and splitting it in two. Right? Is that what they said?
It really makes me wonder if they were trying to create one child and the Force gave them two as a way to balance.
It's almost like it's completely consistent with how it was depicted in the Darth fucking Plagueis book. And there's a lot of people who have never read the fucking book who have let a bald man who can't fucking read tell them what happened in the fucking book, who doesn't understand what happened in the fucking book.
and it's almost like it's almost like the people who've written all of the novels that they claim to love and claim to have represented all their values actually respect and admire the current canon. Matt Stover, James Luceno, what have you, and they're getting these fucking digests from Wikipedia who they're now harassing because they're doing let's check their jobs.
I would argue like
they don't
the
even
fact
read
that like
the Wikipedia articles right, man.
the fact that like if there's one other person who's probably spent the most amount of time talking to George about the Force, it's probably Matt Stover, right? Like,
yeah,
his idea of the Force is shaped by George Lucas.
Which I just need to say, just real quick, sidebar, non sequitur. It is a crime that we have not gotten a new Matt Stover Star Wars book in the new era.
Like, as a Matt Stover stan, like all of my favorite Legends books are Matt Stover books. I like his Later Tie Shell series or the Axel Kane.
Tom, I hope you're listening, Tom.
Please make it happen.
I just want, and I say this with so much love in my heart to everybody watching live on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. If you're commenting, if you're lurking and just watching, I just need you to know, I would sell all of you up the fucking river.
Do it
for a new Matt Stover joint.
I will sacrifice.
I'm not fucking kidding.
Myself.
I'm not fucking kidding.
Legitimately,
and twice as many of you for a Luceno joint. I'm not fucking kidding.
Well, Luceno is gun canon, so
he has one canon book, and it's a fucking Rogue One.
Two.
What's the other one?
Tarkin and Catalyst, right?
Tarkin. I forgot.
I don't like
always,
Tarkin. That's
I
what.
forget.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I forget Tarkin is canon every day. That's not a knock on the Tarkin book. It's a great fucking book. It's so on the borderline that I forget that it's canon.
It is incredibly on the borderline.
It's the only canon book I don't own because one, I missed out on the hardcover, and two, I didn't like it.
I just like, again, no shade to Rogue One, no shade to Tarkin, but like
absolute shade to Rogue
this
One.
man writes Force shit so well. Fuck.
His idea of what's happening on Brendock would be fantastic.
It would be.
Like, give him a novel of like what happened on Brendock. Why is there this coven here, and how was it lifeless before, and now it suddenly has a giant ass forest? What is this fortress at the top of the mountain?
Well, they indicated they were running from like the Republic, so like what happened there to like cause
selfishly,
Absolutely.
as well as to piss off the dude bros. I think this would also be an awesome idea. I want to see the next grand adventure Rey has after Rise of Skywalker, written by Matt Stover. Not like
hold on. We need the clip.
It's gonna be a big nut bust.
I will even take the presence of one Ben Solo in that story if I get Matt Stover. We know how I feel about Kylo Ben. I could do it. He shows up as a Force ghost. If he shows up as a Force ghost, I'll accept it.
Not anywhere close to what Charmaine's doing, by the way. Not anywhere close to what Charmaine's doing.
Oh.
I'm talking about like
immediately after.
Like immediate aftermath.
Immediately after, like maybe a few months.
Yeah.
Maybe
I love that.
That's immediate. That's immediate.
Yeah. Or even like maybe like a couple years in, you know. But
something
back
like
to what
that.
Andrew's saying, because we all got on a fucking non sequitur there about these two authors are so dearly fucking missed. Not that the people who are writing right now are bad, not by a long shot. We love all of them.
No,
I just
God bless Charles. God bless Daniel. God bless
Woodsy's been cooking in the comments. That's a book of the father, son, and daughter. Oh God.
I saw Sam Witwer a couple weeks ago when I was wearing one of the Celebration father, son, daughter shirts, and Sam was like, "Oh, I love your shirt," and I was like, "Yeah, that's right."
But I mean, we lost them. But what Andrew's saying with like you and Andrew both brought up with like the splitting of the personality. I'm also going to put the chat back, the link back in the thing as I speak. You know, I really did not love the idea that the coven was in any way. Oh, we got him back. That the coven was in any way associated directly with the Sith. However, the power of two of it all is very Rule of Two-y, and I was like, oh, you know, it might be one of those like. We are metaphorically, or not metaphorically, but we are like linguistically connected, and like one would kind of prey on the other from that. But man, the way Mother Anastasia with her whole chest is like shit like this is going to get your people killed. Like not in a like a condemning way, but in a I know something you don't know kind of way that I have like kind of been like, is the witches something to do with the Sith for real? Like that was something I very much kept at arm's length because I didn't want to, like, in terms of speculation, kind of like strip the autonomy away from the witches. I didn't want I wanted to let I was like, if it's going to go in this direction, I need the text to tell me they are associated with the Dark Lords of the Sith. I could not quite square with doing that myself because I was like, this might be intentional, like we're saying words that sound alike but don't mean the same thing.
We know that the Sith are seeking out any sort of power they can get. They have their weird magics with their blue flames, and they kind of kidnap Darth Maul from Mother Talzin, right? Like, we know that the Sith are going to go and use any power they can have.
I will say,
somebody.
Jared, I actually drew the opposite conclusion from that, which was like Anastasia for me was like saying like looking at Soul and being like, look, you made your mistakes, we made ours. I get what you're trying to do, and you can, and you I do believe that you think you're doing what's best, but you have to be careful about how that looks to people. Like there was a like a that wasn't like a I felt like it wasn't like a I know something like cheeky, I don't know something you don't know. It was more like a I say this because I respect what you're trying to do.
I see the writing on the wall. You're gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
Maybe. I
like the ambiguity. Like we could read. I like the fact that we can read into that, and it could turn out to be something more. It could just be that she's telling the Jedi, like, y'all keep doing this, you're gonna fuck up real bad.
No, and very much when she said that, I just saw like I'm gonna make this edit because God, I need to see this in my head. I just saw like the stormtroopers of the Empire marching, and I heard, and the Jedi rebellion has been foiled. The remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated.
Yeah. Speaking of edits, I'm just putting this out there. And it frustrates me that I haven't seen this yet. All of the sexy stranger edits. Lust by Kendrick Lamar is right there. It's right there.
You do it.
Guys, I know I can't edit worth shit. Come on. Listen. But I am on screen.
You're gonna make me do it, aren't you?
I am on screen talent. It is a marvel I can make a thumbnail. Okay. It is. I sometimes go, wow, I really cooked, and it's just PNGs of my friends. Okay. It is the bar is on the floor for me.
As one of those friends. Yeah.
Hey, they're great. I'm great at putting lightsabers on shit. There's one thing I'm good at. Again, throwing it all the way back to baby Jarod. And there's one thing I'm good at. It's finding a way to put a lightsaber in it.
Listen, the picture the lightsaber that you lit up for me from when my fiance proposed, that is still my profile picture. So on like everything.
One thing I'm good at.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I got Leia's lightsaber. I had to find my own kyber crystal. It was great. And our bouquet holders for the wedding are also going to be lightsabers. Hers is Ventress, mine is Leia's. I'm so
that sounds fantastic. I just celebrated my 11th anniversary this week, so I'm like in that.
Happy anniversary!
Like, oh, thank you, but I'm like, oh, love.
Taylor, I know you're watching, honey. Just saying.
She's been making some good points in the comments too, Jarod.
I know. She's always cooking. She's always cooking.
She's always Miss Taylor is
call attention to, and one that I do really want to talk about.
Yes, there were so many lyrics in there that I'm like, are any of these Easter eggs for next week? Like,
well, here's the thing. Here's the weird thing about
this. The shame when they call me by your name, like,
oh, that was so on the nose now.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you didn't know, this song has been out since after the first 2 episodes. It came out that Friday.
I think it was later than that. I think it was like. I think it was after
episode 3. So we had it was after episode 3 because it was after we had heard them say the power of 2.
Right. Okay. Yes, you're right. Yes, I knew it was right. Okay. So yes, and so like this has been a song that I made my kids listen to it like at school and like because we were still like the last week of school and like this song was on repeat a lot. Like, this is a pretty good song. It does make me sad that there are certain of my friends who were like, that was a bad choice. They shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, no, Star Wars needs to move and do new things. Even if they don't work, they still need to do new things. Otherwise, it will stagnate and die.
Okay, there are 2 conversations I want to have about this song. One, I'm going to do my best Cole Kushner impression, and we're going to do a mini episode of Dissect. And the other one is, I do want to talk about that, Buck, because the song started playing, and I had... because this is a very Star Wars thing to talk about. What does and doesn't feel like Star Wars, and that there are so many well-defined ideas we have as fans about what is and isn't Star Wars. Yes, dear. It's a great ass song. It's what
I think I can turn my camera on now.
Hey, oh my goodness!
Not a great angle, but hello, this is my face.
I will just say I will just say I had this whole thing because when this song came out, they did announce it was going to be in the credits of one episode.
I did not see that. I did not see
I missed that. I missed that.
They said that, and then I went into 4 being like, oh, it's going to be this episode, and then it wasn't. I'm like, okay, if it's 5, it's going to be this episode, and then it wasn't. And I was going to be like, and then I went to 6, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be this episode, and then it wasn't. And then like a few hours before they released 7, they're going to be like, it's going to be in the credits of this episode, and I'm like, so why announce it like 3 weeks before you do it?
Honestly, and granted, I didn't see
cool.
it. I think it's to prepare people. That is really jarring to hear any flavor of pop music.
And I absolutely, and to their credit, I needed that time to prepare because I was one of the people, and I'm all about Star Wars evolving and changing and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Michael Abels, worked as hard on this music as Goranson did in Mando, as Holt did in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, should we deprive the music? And I'm like, look, here's like my thing is like this. It's one episode. Yeah. Second of all, do you know how fucking easy it would be to re-edit that credit sequence with Abel's soundtrack? It's the easiest edit of all time. I could like I'm not like I am a very amateur editor, and I could do it in probably like
I need to know who the fuck's
half an hour.
Is. I don't. That's a new one. I haven't gotten Senpai before. That's a new one.
Anyway, but yeah, I could do that in a half an hour, and it so doesn't matter. But I definitely did have that like, oh, are we really going to like do the credits song for Star Wars now? And I'm like,
I'm sorry, as a '90s kid. Well, I was born in the '90s. I grew up in the '90s. Yeah. I was elated. I know I'm probably like in a small group because I know that like I like Star Wars to be unique and different and do things and have an artistic choice. And I thought this was a strong artistic choice. And whether it was the right one or the wrong one, it was still a strong choice. And I was, as soon as it came on, because I already knew the song, I was like, oh yes, are they going to, but I was like, well, maybe they won't do lyrics. Maybe they'll just do the song, like the music. And then I was like, well, why don't you do it without the lyrics? And then she started to sing and I was like, yes.
I was gonna say I was just gonna wrap up by saying I'm like, but I made my peace with it by now, and honestly, like, would it have been the choice I made? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, and frankly, I don't care anymore.
I will say, if I were the director or showrunner, I would have made this choice.
I'm not necessarily sure that I would have, but frankly, to me, it doesn't matter anymore because it's the choice they made, and I don't think it is like so incredibly egregious in either decision. Like I'm like, oh yeah, and I will absolutely say, because I remember Jared and I were on a call when this song dropped, and we all listened to it. We listened to it together, and I remember specifically the first time, I'm like, yeah, that was good. I don't think this is like, I didn't think it was a great song the first time around. And I'm like, this was fine, but then every once in a while, I'd like be at work or something like that. I'd be out somewhere. I'm just gonna hit twin flames. I feel the shame when they like. It started to slowly grow on me bit by bit, but to the point where when the credit sequence rolled on this episode, I was like, I was really feeling it.
Yeah.
So a few things from me, and we have a new guest who popped in, so I'm gonna bring them in a moment, and they can go on the journey with us while we dissect the song here. Again, I'm gonna do my Cole Kushner impression. For me, I had a really interesting reaction to it because a little peek behind the curtain. Eli, obviously, you've posted about and we've sung the praises of the music you've made for Ionized Bastards. It's also been a conversation we've had, and it's come up a lot, where we'll be like, oh, this moment happens in Ionized Bastards, or this moment happens, and we will be like, what non-diegetic, not a Star Wars sounding song would play in this moment? And like, we've had a lot of conversations about like, what is the not a Star Warsy song, like theme song for a lot of the characters in Ionized Bastards. Like I've talked about how here's something that's going to be a shock to fucking nobody. Where I've talked about like, I think if I were to try to distill Fabin Martell down to a song, it's Pray For Me by Kendrick and The Weeknd. That it's like all of this. Huh?
A Kendrick song from you, Jake? From you, Jared? Really?
That's why he prepped it by saying the surprise.
No, I know. I decided to give him
So
shit
you
about it
wouldn't
anyway.
expect
I know.
comment
I
to
deserve
grill
it.
him.
It is.
I decided to
an
give him
old
shit about it anyway. I decided to give him shit about it anyway.
Listen, I already talked about Alex fucking Jones this episode, so we're coming towards the end. I had to hit the Kendrick quota. But I would talk about that and like, so we talk about like, oh yeah, this song would play in this moment. Like I joked, like after I'd finally seen TMNT Mutant Mayhem, that iconic thing of like Ante Up playing as like the Turtles roll up to battle, where I was like, I can so see this with the Ionized Bastards, that you just have this line of like a stocky Ithorian and the assassin droid and the Gungan and the Dark Jedi with his lightsaber drawn, that just Ante Up that like I can totally see this. And we've talked about this since we started doing that show. And then the Acolyte said, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Doesn't this feel kind of dirty? And I loved it. Yeah. I was like, it feels dirty, but fuck, I love it.
Yeah. I loved it. It really did.
Yeah, right? I was like, oh, I'm so into this, but it like felt me with like, oh, like this is so weird and so new. And it filled me with so much joy. I'm going to bring in our next guest as he joins us on our little dissection here. We got one Brennan Marr. Hello, buddy.
Mystical Marvin
is going on, my friend. I think your mic is off again, buddy. While you get that sorted out, I'm going to get the lyrics pulled up. I'm on Genius right now.
Yes.
So yeah, and I
have a love-hate relationship with Genius.
Me too.
there have been some funny lyric descriptions from Genius.
Yes.
So I do kind of want to like parse through this and kind of see.
Testing.
There we go. We're good.
We can hear you.
I was saying that my heart has started beating again after that episode.
Oh, I know who it is.
Who is it?
I'm gonna put in the private chat. Just
I don't know.
I put in the private chat.
Oh my god! Of course it's Paco. That's like the only other fucking person I know who would watch Knowledge Fight. One of our viewers who I got into Knowledge Fight. Of course, it's fucking Paco.
That's the comment he said that I had to explain what the /S was to you.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. John Cena's album or anything. Savage, congratulations. Not only is your name a bad take, you've somehow found a worse take.
Wait, what is better than any Kendrick album? Wait, sorry.
Any of John
Cena had an album.
He does. He does. It's very funny. He announced his retirement at Money in the Bank this weekend, Ange. And during the press conference, they asked him about if he was going to drop an album at the end. And he was like, listen, the Jorts are retiring with me, and I think the album should too.
No, wait, but like, what was to the left of the Kendrick thing? I couldn't see.
Eli, don't belabor the joke, please.
No, Buck, that's my fault because I didn't get it at first. That's my fault that I didn't pick up on a "we can't see it" joke. So I do want to kind of go through this. Parts of me will die with you, and I think it's going to be the good parts. I don't want to feel it all. Thick skin, big scars. Now, okay, I'm getting a little preemptive here.
This from May's point of view?
I think, but here's what I love. This almost feels like the double title. This almost feels like a double title.
Yeah, but it also, like, so you were saying about it being May's point of view, I almost wonder, that's where, like, yes, it came out after the second episode, but it also is, I think, significant that they put it in the credits of this episode, and it's the penultimate episode, so like, okay, but it makes me wonder if it's OSHA, and I have a lot of concern for Soul and May going into next week's episode.
I definitely do not. I've been in the camp of not expecting May to make it through to the end of this season.
My thing,
I'm wondering if pairing a potential May death with the revelation of what happened on Brundock to OSHA.
Yes. Was this what I said last week?
Yeah. the thing that I'm always interested with, and this was since the premiere, because if we're looking, and And I believe that this is like, because we look at the, like, even if we go back to the titles of these episodes, you know, we have, what's the first one? Lost, Found.
Right.
What was this one? I missed that.
Choice. This one was Choice.
Which is the inverse of Destiny.
Which is the inverse of Destiny. As
Yep.
is Day and Night. As
Yeah.
is Revenge Justice. As is, what's 6 again?
Teach Corrupt.
Teach Corrupt.
Yeah.
But so again, which one applies to whom? And I'll answer with a very Star Wars answer, which is, you know, which one do you want to be true? Which is, you know, it's all true from a certain point of view. And I do. Does this song apply to May or Osha? Yes, it does.
Correct.
That's absolutely correct. You're 100% on the money there.
Well, going back to the whose perspective, I think the pre-chorus is another good one that's like an indicator of like a perspective from May. With while I was tethered to you, you cut it straight to the truth, and we so one and the same. So all of my pain is your pain. You thought your soul was a necklace that you could wear and take off, you could rip and break off, that you could trade in the dark, but you're mine. That is so very much May. That is so very much May. But then we have this very interesting passage here with the twin flame. I feel ashamed when they call me your name, and you feel the same when they say you're to blame. Twin flame, I feel the shame when they call me their name. Call me your name. Why work with myself if it's a losing game? This very much feels like a trading of barbs. This very much like, because again, you know, I feel as a shame when they call me your name. We, like, as Angie pointed out, we very clearly see this happen. Like, this literally happens in the episode we just watched. But also, and you feel the same when they say you're to blame. That was the first 3 episodes, or the first 2 episodes, was Osha being blamed for May's actions. You know, I feel the shame. I feel the shame part again, and then why work with myself when it's a losing game? That is so true of both of them.
Yeah,
you know?
and I love that line will change later in the song.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes to the post-chorus. I thought I had a life with you. You know, the power of 2, which beautifully echoes here. About that. But tell me, where was your heart?
Like Taylor in on like dissecting these lyrics too, because she is also a Swiftie, and nobody dissects lyrics better than a Swiftie, finding hidden meanings in things.
Where is she at?
She is, last I could hear, I thought I heard pots and pans falling, so I think she's in the kitchen doing something. Based on clattering, I think that's where she is located. The link is in the chat. She can join whatever she likes. I just heard her yell, "I'm coming right now, hold on."
If they want me to join, I'll be right there.
Okay. I'm just having chips. But tell me, where was your heart when you were Destiny apart? I do not think that's correct. That doesn't sound right.
It is correct.
Yeah,
that is correct.
That is correct.
But you know, again, this is very. I mean, this does very much feel like from May's perspective. Again,
yeah.
So let me get to the part. Where did you say that part changes? I'm at war
the
with
last one. I'm at war with myself. It's a losing game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does truly feel like an exchange between them. Like,
yeah.
Which I love, and the fact that it's sung from one individual voice really codifies that. I'm going to put the link in the chat again for Taylor so she can just get right to it.
It's also crazy the idea that the implication is that the twins share a soul.
Yes,
right?
Like literally share.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are the implications of all this? And those of us who read the Darth Plagueis novel, like, what does that have on what Plagueis and Tenebris and of course Sidious learned? So what would all that information have to do with all this information? My head. What does it mean?
But
yeah.
But get it.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
I wasn't sure if Ange was seeing the clips, but I saw
Oh yeah.
I saw one of my favorite things to see from anybody who I share this screen with, and that is the immediate realization that that clip is playing. That always makes my heart happy every time that someone's like, "Ah, yes, the sad Alex noir trumpet song." But no, I also just want
because there's always been a part of you that's just a little bit sadistic and inflicting Alex Jones upon other people.
Yes.
Listen, man. It's all about understanding that he's wrong, and that's the funny part. Listen, I just and as Miss Taylor can attest, right before I bring her in, I watched live when the verdict was read in the Connecticut case.
Oh.
And the and with each dollar amount, I was cheering like I was watching the fucking Super Bowl. Like
the best form of like an auction.
Oh my god, that's what it felt like.
Right.
It's just like, and in the case of Erica Lafferty, the plaintiff is owes 211 trillion gajillion.
I need somebody to do that as a bit now. Do that bit, like just do it off. Like
made me
fast,
so
like an
happy.
auctioneer.
Yes, and shouts out to everybody watching Pro and Noob over at the Midge 692 channel. Low power muttering, everybody. Low power muttering from me. Anyway, hi, Miss Taylor. You've been listening. You've been listening in the living room. I'm going to give you the floor, honey. What is your read on Power of Two?
So, just first, Taylor, this is about Jake, right? This is about Gyllenhaal, right?
Everything's about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Let's all listen up right now.
Let me bring my husband in so he can join this conversation.
Spoken goblin. Not involved.
That was a joke.
All right. We're going to start on some serious stuff. I have the lyrics pulled up and everything. Because as Ange knows, I'm a hardcore Swiftie. And girl, you can send me your Addy because I'll be making bracelets. Anyway. So I have this playlist. I have this song on my playlist called Rotation. And honestly, this song slaps so hard on so many levels because there are so many different things where you can extrapolate, like not only you wear your soul as a necklace and you feel like you could take it off. Let's be so serious. Obviously, that's made to OSHA.
Yeah,
there's no question there.
It does fascinatingly though kind of rebound back onto May though, in the way that she tries so hard to assimilate into OSHA's identity and fails triumphantly at it.
Oh,
absolutely.
Because there are so many different things that OSHA does that May will never fundamentally understand. With soul specifically, and that is that like deep love and respect. So when Soul asks her questions and stuff, he can pretty quickly identify that like that's not my girl. Like that's not my girl.
I think Pip was the big thing on that one, was how she was acting with Pip.
And like any bad criminal, she could not help but tell on herself.
Right.
You know, sometimes we see what we want to see. And I love how she said that and Soul went, yeah, we do, don't we? Motherfucker. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's two times that Soul has mixed up the twins on screen.
Oh, yeah. No,
it's just so good to do this right after. Oh, my God. Right?
Can I just say?
Please.
I hate to say this, but I kind of like the fact that the witches are not portrayed very positively here. Because I've always been a bit suspicious of them. I mean, not that they're 100% to blame, right? I just mean that we're seeing Mother Pearl and Mother Ensei not being very great. And I think that makes sense because people can do bad stuff and do good stuff. And we're all capable of it, and I think that Mother Coral and Mother Anastasia being very, as the kids say, very sus in these episodes today. And I know that when the third episode came out, there's a thing going around saying the witches did nothing wrong. And I'm like, we may have to rewrite
The
that.
witches did things wrong.
Everybody
Because we have
except
to
for maybe
rewrite.
Osha made a mistake in this episode.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh yeah,
That's a good point.
no. Mistakes were made on. Everybody made mistakes.
Yeah, everybody did something wrong.
Let's be exceptionally clear about that.
Nobody
Like
is
this
blameless.
is here's my like the I think that's one of the great things about the show, and it's so ironic. Like that's the thing that I find is so funny about the show, and not funny in like this is like a humorous, but like funny in a yeah, but in a tragic way.
I mean, I love
is that most people are still having the fire and space conversations. Most people are still having the knife versus lightsaber wound conversations, which are not what the show wants you to have. The show wants you to have these conversations, these conversations, the richer conversations. There are all these rich, like very much. I feel like there's a big part of the Star Wars fandom that I'm just gonna say it doesn't deserve this show.
No.
Okay.
Am I wrong in my reading of the episode? But do I get the sense that Mother Coral basically told me, go and lock your sister in a room, not necessarily start a fire, but basically go and do something to stop,
she definitely didn't say don't go stop the Jedi because of your sister.
Yeah.
I think next episode we are going, because there's a bit missing in this telling. We got Osha's perspective, we got basically Soul's perspective. I think we're going to get a little bit more next episode, I think, from May's perspective to fill in some of those gaps, because
I will
that's
say,
what's missing on those. What is May's story on there?
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like ultimately too, like Buck, you said like pretty much everybody except Osha made some type of tragic mistake in this episode. But even with May, like May made a childish decision that had horrific consequences.
Yeah, disaster.
Which made a childish decision because she was a child. Who then
Yeah.
ran her mother for
mom.
help.
Yeah.
And like that's I think
May can't be blamed for that.
And that
I will say,
that actually
Osha does make a tiny mistake later, but like that's sisterly, not really important for the whole story.
I think that's where like I have such a huge issue. That's that actually like helped me put the issue I had with how Indara framed everything at the end was like May lit a fire that killed her family. Like she's placing all of this blame onto a child
where we
who she
find out
thinks is
that,
dead.
Yeah,
Who she thinks is dead.
right.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell this girl that her sister died, and also that it's her sister's fault that everything she knows is gone.
It's wrong.
But also, that Indara can't tell her the entire truth, because if she does, then she fundamentally, Osha, won't have anybody.
Yeah.
It's sort of like asking George Lucas a question about how he created Star Wars until only ever gives you the oversimplified answer. That's like that's not actually true.
Yeah, it's the Acolyte. The Acolyte so far has been can be summarized in 3 words extremely efficiently. And I mean this with regards to the story and what's happening in the narrative, not with regards to like the actual like what I think about it, but just saying mistakes were made is a pretty good summary of like if you look at any character's arc, any of them without fail, you can say mistakes were made.
Or to quote the maker, maybe I went a little far at a few places.
Maybe I went a bit too far at a few places.
He does say that. Yes.
It's pretty interesting to see the whole. Well, I mean, as Buck says, there might be more.
Yeah.
still a little bit more to
Just a
add,
tiny
but I
bit.
think that it's not anything the way I thought it would go. I mean, I had a guess that maybe Torben Scar came from fighting one of the other Jedi, but otherwise, all of my predictions, which I basically had none, were wrong. So
I know. I'm so happy I got washed out, by the way.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I am so happy. And these are one of this. Like, listen, I own this L. One of the first things we ever covered on the Nerd Academy, like post what I called like Project Overhaul, when we like started doing the video show and we had the big set and everything, was WandaVision. Those are the first things we covered. And
great stuff.
A phenomenal show.
Great
that
stuff.
I got wildly fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I have no shame in admitting I was a Mephisto truther until the end.
I think everybody got that
Right.
wrong.
A lot of people.
It felt like a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was like, it's Mephisto after all.
That's not as catchy. It's not as catchy.
Yeah, it doesn't have the right rhyme scheme. Yeah.
But I love predictions as sport. Like anybody who's been keeping up with Pro and Noob over on Mitch692's channel, like the whole game of that show is, can Jarod figure out Neon Genesis Evangelion before everything is revealed and before his fucking psyche shatters in the process? And as Brennan just said, the answer is likely to be no.
The answer is resounding no.
He said no. He said no.
No. Well, I'm just saying likely because I don't know if it's going to be I don't figure it out or it doesn't shatter my psyche.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out which way I'm going to be wrong yet.
The other thing.
But yeah, no, this show, like I said, like it's not so much zigging where you think it's going to zag. It's like you overcomplicate it to a zog when it was just zigging the whole time. But a very nuanced zig. It's a very nuanced zig. It's very complicated. It asks a lot of ethical, moral questions of you.
And the only other thing I'll say is that Mother NSA could be arrested for how she was coming on to Torben.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen, I can never.
It seemed flirtatious to me.
Oh yeah, I can promise you right now, I will never fault somebody for being a bad bitch and flirting.
Technically, he's not as young as he looks. The actor's not as young as.
Yeah.
I don't care if he is 18. Period. She said, "You saw me and you were like, I think I like that girl." And she said, "I know you did." And that was it. That was
an interesting scene.
That was the extent of her entanglement with him, and I was like,
true.
That is all legal and witchy and okay with me because you're hot, you're a witch, and you have no morals. I'm down with all those things.
And we know Padawans are Padawans well into adulthood, right? Like 24.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah. If I've been Torben, I wouldn't have complained.
Torben, Turbo.
So true, bestie.
Turbo. He looked like he was like, she fine.
I mean, she is.
She's fine.
Like objectively.
Like,
who's going to say no? Yes. You want to know what I want? Yes, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
She was like,
I love how Taylor welcomed
you specifically.
I love how Taylor welcomed the argument and then very, very tactfully disarmed the BBL witchy argument. I said all of that just to justify saying BBL witchy.
BBL witchy.
No, it's weird. She's like, say what you want, and then he's like, I want to go back to Coruscant. I'm like,
she's like, say less.
Really?
That's not what you were thinking, sir.
The word Coruscant never crossed your mind, my friend.
Yeah,
okay, we'll go with that.
What? You could see him calculate and then decide to lie. You see
Yeah.
anything.
If you were
The
anything
cat
like
lady.
me,
Cry while he was doing it.
if you were anything like me, he probably wasn't able to form a sentence in that moment.
I mean, I can't. It's. I also do love like.
I mean, he was probably thinking exactly what I thought when I met Katie Sackhoff, which is,
I was, like I said, I
That's
saw
all I
Sam
can
Witwer again like 2 weeks ago, and I had a hard time speaking.
I mean, I was also at a loss for words when I
Doc.
met Amonis Fondi, but that was just blind fucking rage.
That was because
I think I know
Okay,
what
no,
you're talking about, Doc.
that man is gorgeous.
No, he's beautiful. I just need to keep the bit going. One last thing on Power of Two, unless anybody else has anything to say.
Taylor, do you have any more about the lyrics?
Oh yes, I could. Sorry, we got distracted because Mother Anastasia is fine.
3,000 word essay.
Honey, get a little bit closer to your iPad. I can hear you better though. Taylor.
I'm
iPad.
looking.
Do not disturb Taylor as she's Googling.
Okay. It's in my AirPods. Thank
Okay.
you.
I wasn't sure. Well, while you're reading, I just need to make a formal request to Eli right now. While you're reading, I just need to say before I forget,
She
Eli,
was speaking.
I didn't hear her. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you, Buck, but it's fine. You go ahead, Jarod.
Eli, when you make the promo for Dark Jedi J-Ro 3 in Japan, Power of Two needs to be the song.
I see it. I see the vision. I see the vision.
I suppose I'll be filming this.
I see the vision. I see the vision.
As you were
I'll
saying.
film the music video. The pre-chorus is while I was tethered to you, you cut it straight to the truth. Thank you, Jarod. Yes, right there, as you can see.
Sure, this isn't just another Taylor Swift breakup song.
We will get there. I think that's maybe later. But yes, as you can see, yeah, I don't know how good of a breakdown I could do as I'm not an English major or anything. But yeah, you can see that like in the song specifically is referencing the twins like breakup essentially. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating though too, because like when I am picturing this as May and Osha going back and forth, I'm picturing the adult versions of them going back and forth, when really like up until they found each other again in the like first and second episode, like they both thought the other one was dead.
Yes.
Yeah, and it really emphasizes the point where it's like you thought your soul was a necklace where you could take off, because it comes to that point where it's like, well, you just kind of thought that like I was a piece of your life.
Yeah, that like it's just gone.
That
now.
when you
like
die, like when I die, that in your mind there's nothing beyond this. You get rid of me.
Yeah.
What if we're all wrong and it's just Anastasia and Torben's love song?
Honestly, I'm so much more down for it.
I'm gonna have to write that fanfic.
I'm
Anna
sure
Corbin?
somebody is already.
Oh, well, I'd read it, but I might
subscribe.
My soul
Torbasea? Anna Sorbin or Torbasea?
Torbasea.
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 You can have that one on the house, fanfic writers. You can have that one on the house.
Well, I would read those, but I think my
Your
eyes
work.
would never recover.
Yeah, you don't want to read my fanfic.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to a lovely place. We've have a good ass conversation. This has been my favorite stream of the season so far. I've had a blast. We've run the gamut.
What an episode! Wow.
Also, just as a non sequitur, the jokes I was making about Cole Cushion and Dissect. It's one of my favorite podcasts. They do like season long analysis of rap albums. Go listen to that fucking show. It's so goddamn good. Not enough people listen to it. It's so fucking good. They just finished an MF Doom season, and I'm still reeling from it. But yeah, we're gonna bring it on home here. And where can the people find you, my friend?
Oh boy, I am kind of all over the internet. I am a longtime Star Wars Twitter lurker because Star Wars Twitter scares me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't blame you.
You can come hang
Not
out
for the
with me.
meat.
I have spent a long time. I have spent like the last 4 years very carefully curating my Star Wars Twitter
Same.
content.
I literally follow nobody for anything. I do House of the Dragon on Twitter.
House of the Dragon. So that is Twitter is at necessary_sass because that was the high school thing I came up with at some point that has haunted me forever and will forever. That I'm more active on Twitter now than I have been for a while. I don't have too much of an online presence. I lurk places. I don't post a whole lot. Yeah, so I'm thrilled to be like on a stream for once. Like I've been working here for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
You have. I need to say, Ange is a day one TNAP person. Ange is it's an A1 since day one friend. I lit up when I saw you in the live chat for the first time because it just made me happy, and I messaged them. I was like, hey, I just need you to know you are so welcome to come on one of these talkback streams. I would love to have you on. I have not seen you in the flesh in too goddamn long.
Yeah. Absolutely thrilling.
It makes me it warmed my heart up to talk to you tonight, my friend. I just needed to say that Ange is one of those people who, when you have a friend like that at a young age, it does wonders for the heart. They had my back, made sure I had a home among the nerds, and they have all of the hilarious stories of me being an obnoxious little fucking edgelord to validate every single accusation everybody has ever made about me on screen. They
Jared, I have the show choir photos.
You do, and
I just followed you. You can DM them to me.
I was gonna get a lot of mileage out of that in a couple Discord servers.
So bad.
Listen, I bring it on myself, but it's been a pleasure having you on. Please, I hope you're able to make the time pop by for the finale next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and also wait, no, hold on. House of the Dragon, though. Link up.
Speaking of fanfic.
I've read Fire and Blood, so I know what's coming. And
Taylor, your favorite Ionized Bastards character hosts a stream about it every week.
Which one?
That's obviously not me.
Okay, who you got? Damon or Renera or Anastasia and Jordan?
Okay, I'm gonna go with
Taylor,
Damon
passively
Rainier
talk exists, you know.
Gotcha.
But base, Jace and Bayla. Base.
Oh yeah.
Based. I like calling that ship based a lot.
Based.
The true king who never was.
Yeah,
anyway. We'll link up for that. We're gonna do Jack Jared's podcast. Fuck that. We're doing the Dragon Academy. We're done.
I'm trying to think.
I already came up with a good.
The Nerd Citadel. There you go.
No, I came up with a good ass plan. It's called the Dragon Academy.
No, Dragon Academy is really good. I'm just going along the bottom row here, Brennan. Where can the lovely people find you and what you do, my friend?
You can find me promoting Torbisea on my podcast. You can find me at Page Turners They Were Not on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. I was planning on doing a review of this episode tomorrow, and they had to push it to Thursday because I got a lot to think about with this episode.
There's a lot to digest for sure.
And Red might try to say a fanfic. Which I'll then send a book.
Sensational.
No, but anyhow, yeah, you can find me on X, Brennan Mystical, Threads, and all that stuff. Also, say.
Yeah. I said it last week. I'll reiterate it again. Brennan had me on his show recently. Had a wonderful conversation. Just a really knee deep in the mud of just talking about why we love Star Wars. And it was one of those moments. Alden quoted me whenever I had my first episode on Octo Radio. Like he titled the episode after it was like renewing our vows with Star Wars, with just those moments in the fandom where you're like, yeah, that's why I love this shit. And in the middle of Acolyte season and just getting into a very nitty gritty place of like what makes these stories tick for us was absolutely one of those moments. So go check out everything Brennan's doing. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to Page Turners everywhere. Miss Taylor, where can the lovely people find you, dear?
The lovely people can find me at the Nerd Academy 1, the number, on Twitter, or at Quicksilver Girl, GRRL, and that is it.
Here's the okay, guys. I got a scoop for you. Taylor Swagman. Eli, where can the lovely people find? I'm putting on my Alice Jones pants. I'm just spreading flagrant disinformation now.
So true, bestie.
So true, bestie.
That is what Swagman
I don't
would
trust
say.
anybody in the top row. Let me tell you right now, except for maybe Buck.
I know. We have all the
the
Yord Horde neck braces and the Jackie Jam tissue packs stacked up in our guest room.
It is
Yord Horde neck brace.
I did.
Right now, I cried when that happened.
Well, we'll see what this episode
a
leads
neck
to.
brace.
Oh no!
So I've been a Charlie Barnett fan for decades. Actually, at this point, now I'll go back 20 years. I have been a fan of this man, and to see him be a Jedi that I loved, and then to see him die, the scream I let out when he got cut. Before he died, but he got cut.
Oh my god!
And then he died. My dog ran away from me.
My dog was crying the whole time.
That's so funny you say that, Buck. There's this one gentleman I work with named Carlos, and he's a big Star Wars guy, but he's like, oh, I get to the shows after the fact. And I was like, bro, run, do not walk to the Acolyte. And he was like, all right, I'll get caught up. This was last week. And he walks into work the next day after binging the first 5 episodes. And he walks up to me. He did not say hello. He didn't say what's up. He didn't dap me up. He didn't knuckle bump me. He did nothing. He just walked up to me and went,
he would have been my least favorite person.
He walked up to me. He said, man, when they broke his fucking neck. That was all he said was, man, when he broke his fucking neck. And it was the first words he said to me. He didn't even finish the sentence. He just started with, man, when he broke his fucking neck. Like, yeah, that's the episode right there.
The scream, the ungodly, unearthly, like not even from this fucking plane of existence sound that I let out was.
Brendan, I think you might have heard my shriek.
Yeah, I think I heard your shriek
simultaneous.
I hit
They made a similar noise when Jackie went. I like lost it.
Like I said, the episode is
Obi-Wan. I went out a full Obi-Wan no on Jackie.
Like
you
I
could
said,
ask
the
Taylor.
episode
I was
should have been
unconsolable.
I did the no with Jackie.
The episode should have been called "The Reigns of Dathomir." I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
And they start playing the music, and
Also, this is Willow. She decided to make an appearance.
Hello, Willow.
Hi, Willow.
A proud member of the Nerd Academy.
Willow, can you give us the second season of the show?
That's a sticker now. You got to make a sticker.
I know. I do.
I'll draw it up, bro.
Wait. So I make cray, and I'm that joke maker. And then you say Nerd Academy.
See, Eli, there's this thing called like timing, and delivery. You gotta work on it.
I also
you prep us too much for your jokes.
Girl, I got you. I'm gonna.
Also,
Well,
Richard is my unofficial co-host because I'll be halfway through an episode and the motherfucker starts screaming outside my door. So I don't.
Our cat, and he is asleep right now.
He is
Jared,
So
if
he's
you make
actually
a
being
sticker, I
so
will
good.
hunt her down an orange and blue collar. It'll probably be like a sports team collar because that's where I'm gonna find those colors, but it would work.
Braided one.
Or a Halloween one.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of real quick, while we're talking about merch,
We'll
We have
braid
three
one
black
for
cats.
you.
There's so many Halloween colors.
Orange and blue is my high school colors.
well, we are
Easy to find.
while we're talking about the Nerd Academy merch, I just need to say real quick,
Oh yes, the
Y'all.
Nerd Academy podcast.
Oh, your new
Y'all
Cookie
are.
Pop t-shirt?
guys, I worked too hard on this shit. I need y'all to start buying this fucking shirt. I will open the TNAP T Public just to look at this and laugh.
These are facts.
Like
that at the right image is disturbing.
right. I thought the laser eyes were a nice touch. If I could pat myself on the back, I thought laser eyes were a great touch.
Yeah,
And we're really supposed to believe, and we look at this,
horrifying.
and we're really believe that they're all gone and have no influence on your Epic Confrontations character. That's what
Listen,
we're supposed
Eli,
to believe with
the
this.
ball is in your
That's
court to bring back
horrifying.
Cookie Cop. The ball is in your court to resurrect Cookie Cop because
That's
all I can
exactly
tell
what
you
somebody
is
under the influence of Cookie Cup would say.
all I can tell you is this: even
I
though
see
Travis has
Cookie
only
Cop
played
right
one match
now.
and it was an exhibition, that man will put on his whole ass Poe cosplay to have one line in a cutscene.
I see Cookie Cop.
Yes,
right
I know. I understand.
now.
No, I will.
I'm
Ew.
voluntelling him. I'm voluntelling him. If you ever pull the trigger on Cookie Cop's revenge, I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I
You
understand.
can bring that
and I will-
storyline back, something fierce. You can kill me off. You can kill me
No,
off
no, no.
if you have to.
Oh,
No. What I'm telling you, Jared, right now is, and I understand I'm on your
Across
same
from the Fuji
wavelength.
Mountains.
I'm on the same wavelength, and I will tell you exactly how that plot will start. You'll see some text on the screen. The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Cookie Cop.
Sorry. No.
Yes, Eli's reading
no.
the crawl from Rise of Skywalker. And before we have a riot in this StreamYard, Eli, plug and plug fast.
So much.
In a Galaxy Pod, my show I run with my friend Jacob, we're releasing an episode with friend of our show and many others, Devore, Jedi Survivor this week, and Epic Confrontations returning very soon. We are returning we are recording our next one tomorrow. With and it'll be out sometime in the next week with this guy right over here, Mr. Buck O'Brien.
Winner.
Teams. Our first team's number one contender match. Very excited about that. So yeah.
Eli, when are you gonna let me play Buck?
Cookie Cop returned by means of Sith magic.
Cookie Cop returned
Sith
by
alchemy.
means of blockbuster because somebody was not kind and they did not rewind.
Dark science cloning secrets only the Sith knew.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, just because we brought up the Cookie Cop bit, the funniest thing Scotty J-Ro has ever done was pay $40 to get a Cookie Cop off of eBay.
It is truly remarkable.
And I want to say,
commitment to the bit.
And I just want to give a peek behind the curtain. And I think I've said this on KNR before, but I need to say it on TNAP Live. Everybody going into that match thought I was going to win.
100%. 110%.
I actually made dinner with Scotty's newlywed wife.
We all thought it was going to happen. We all thought it was going to happen.
That Jarod and her new husband was going to lose. And we were all going to have a nice, cute little meal.
I thought there's a reason we called it the Dark Jedi's Revenge. That's how certain we were that he was going to
win. We all went into that thinking I was going to win. And Scotty and I talked privately about how funny it would be that he would get to have a Cookie Cop on display. That it would just be a fun bit that most people discovered the Cookie Cop bit through Bombadcast.
And I didn't know anything about this part B with the plan.
And then, and we joked, we were like, ha, Scotty wins, he'll destroy Cookie Cop. And we went, ha, that won't have to happen. And then Scotty had to find a hammer.
No, he went to the garage where he had to pass through the living room.
Desolation. Stay
and
bomb
his new wife. His new wife. And I looked at her and she looked at him and she was like, "Where are you going?" And I looked at her. And he looked at her and he said, "To get a hammer."
I have something to confess. I think so. I have a theory. I think this might have been all my fault. Remember, like right before the stream, I accidentally started it and we had to do a whole new stream link.
Yeah, I remember vividly.
Yeah,
I think that's triggered the alternate timeline. I think this was like a Harambe thing.
Yeah.
I think this is a Harambe thing. I think I accidentally triggered the alternate timeline.
I think you're absolutely right.
I also think you're right because I was cooking dinner during this, and had you not contacted us, they would have eaten and had their meal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I triggered the alternate timeline.
Butterfly effect, man.
Scotty,
I'll get you every time.
That forced Jarod to eat the pasta.
As Scotty was berating me. Well, the other funny
was beating Cookie Cop to death. He said, "Eat your fucking pasta." And he kept beating it to death.
The other funny thing, but with the butterfly effect element of it, Eli, and it's so funny you say that. I was talking to Mitch after we finished recording Pro and Noob a couple days ago, and we were just talking. He made a joke about EC, and then we started talking about it. And I told him, I was like, had it not been for the false start with the stream, and then we fucked up on our end to make sure that we could hear the walkout music. Had we not been off to such a bumpy start that we just wanted to keep the show moving, I would have challenged you on that Dark Jedi question. And that also would have affected the outcome. Like that, like let it be known, like challenges fucking matter, Buck. Buck, listen to me. Especially with this fucking kid.
I was trying to be smart. I was trying to play tribute. I was trying to do Dark Jedi joke. It's so funny. And then I forgot to think about like the consequences of like, oh yeah, this could be a whole ass debate and we would never get out of this for like fucking hours. And we wanted to move the stream along. That was the EC can also be described very similarly to Acolyte. Mistakes were made.
Yeah. Buck, where can the lovely people find you, my friend? Before we get on sequitur, that is
most social media. Most social media, you can find me at Highball2814. That's a Green Lantern reference. And then on Twitter, the By Republic. Thank you, Jarod, for letting me borrow that when I slinked back into Twitter after getting banned. So,
hey, you know what, Buck? I think you can have it. I don't think I need that name anymore. I think.
I think
I always told him he can have it back.
Join forces for epic conversation.
I wouldn't mind having Buck as a teammate if it ever came to pass.
It'd be really fun. We would. Alden wouldn't know it hit him.
Don't shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear those words if I'm not recording ionized bastards. It sends a chill down my spine. It elicits my fight or flight. I have my dice right here.
I'm gonna make you suffer.
I will kill a bitch right now. Okay,
Jarod.
David Martell is a light switch flip away, man.
All right, and I'm also, like Eli said, got Epic Confrontations recording tomorrow. I got another match coming up shortly after that.
Let's go.
So I'm excited. So yeah, I'm excited, and occasionally here for these after episode chats, which have been a lot of fun.
Love to have you. I'm less here than you, so love to hear your opinions. We share
absolutely.
so many, so like honestly, it's good to hear.
Listen, I love Levi to death. After Levi left, the show has been nothing but good takes. That's like the one thing that's like the main thing. That was a bit. He was fully in on the joke that Eli would just shit out of his word hole, and I would spend entire chunks of episodes telling Levi why I thought he was wrong. And then he would just look me dead into my soul and go, "Well, that's my opinion." And I'd be like, "I have no retort for that." Levi Baum, one of the few people on the planet who can consistently shut me down.
Yeah.
You can count on one hand, and the other one is directly under me on the screen right now.
Oh, is it me?
Yes. Miss, you took away a man's right to go to heaven.
Listen, right now.
The funniest thing to come out of Ionized Bastards. You guys can find me personally.
Drawgraith who?
Man, fuck Drawgraith. All my homies hate Drawgraith. Fuck that motherfucker.
Except for me. He's great.
He tried to kill Jerry.
Well, how about you fuck off?
I saved my friend's life. You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at DarkJedi2552. You could, again, we talked about it a little bit here, Ionized Bastards. We were supposed to record our season 2 finale last night. Unfortunately, Dan Miller had a work thing come up so Dan was in Dallas for work. He had all of his equipment with him. And at the 11th hour, they were like, "Hey, we actually have to send you to Atlanta." And then shipped his ass out. Homeboy was flying in the middle of a hurricane. Like it was a whole ass thing. It was like it was a big ass storm. But yeah, so obviously Dan
personally know.
So fingers crossed next week we're able to record the finale. I'm very excited. I get to have my lightsaber duel finally, and no spoilers to whom it may be against because it is kind of a twist. But it's personal. And as a little teaser, I want my shit back. So I'll let everybody. Andrew, have you been watching Bastards?
I have not. I have been watching so many TTRPG actual plays that it is hard to add another one in. I'm trying to keep track of, like, I'm going through Critical Role, like campaign 1 right now. I'm Dimension 20, like 3 different campaigns on Dimension 20. It is on my list of things to watch because I'm quite interested in it. And then I also have to keep track of my own actual TTRPG that's not an actual play. It's just a friend group.
Well, and why are we better friends? You should hit me up. I'll tell you all about.
I mean, I promise it's not you. It's that I have not seen Jarod in person, even though we live probably less than an hour from each other.
Well, that's okay. I'll fucking show up at your house. It's fine. Anyway.
I'm like, you don't need Jarod.
You really don't. You really don't.
Anyway.
I'm like Nick Fury. I put more interesting people in a room together and then I fuck off.
Because honestly, I was like, you love House of the Dragon. I love House of the Dragon.
I'm here to talk to you about the Bastards Initiative.
Truly. Well, and you'll appreciate this. Fabian Martel. So Taylor showed me Fantasy High Season 1.
Amazing.
And then immediately, like literally the day we finished it, Michael McCoy hits me up to like, "Hey, I want to do Star Wars RPG, and hits me up about it. And as a little, like, sneaky thank you and like mini dedication to Taylor, Fabian Martel is named after Fabian Seacaster. Like he's just a Star Wars.
Wondering.
It's very subtle. Like it's the cocky swashbucklers. Like
Jarod loved Fabian the moment he met him, and
I saw a swordsman wearing Jordans. How was that not made for me? Like,
fair enough. Well, and now like D&D is gonna have a whole like College of Dance for bards now, and I am entirely uncertain that that's not directly tied to Fabian.
Oh, I mean, fucking Matt Mercer with the Blood Hunter, So. But yeah, Ionized Bastards Season 2 finale coming very, very soon. I promise. And I'm gonna fuck somebody up with my lightsaber, but in a trying to be a hero kind of way. I'm gonna try. I think there's a whole quote about that. Pro and Noob, show where Mitch from the Comic Book Cast is taking me through Neon Genesis Evangelion 1 episode at a time. I'm going crazy. This is not good for my mental health. The conspiracy part of my brain is overactive now, and it's Mitch's fault. I blame him because he's British. And then Epic Confrontations. I have a match at some point. But yeah, Nerd Academy, our review of this our proper review of this episode will be out on Friday. I am guest hosting the Bombad Cast this week. Scotty is in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I am going to be riding shotgun.
And we all know that nothing bad ever happens when Jarod guest hosts Bombad Cast.
No.
Nothing ever bad happens.
It's for those of you at home, I challenged Scotty to the very first epic confrontation that I guest hosted Bombad Cast. So
who the fuck knows what's going to happen Thursday?
It's what happens when. It's
Jarod,
what
if
happens
you want to
when
rematch with me, you can call me out on.
That's what happens when a Scotty who does everything leaves Jerry to take over.
And we say that like Scotty's not going to be like stumbling drunk dressed as Paul Stanley through the streets of Las Vegas. Scotty's going.
That is worse for everybody.
Scotty's going to be dressed as Paul Stanley and challenge every single Elvis impersonator to single combat.
Honestly, when he comes out of it at the end of the day, he will be king of Las Vegas. So
he will be the king of Las Vegas. He will become the Mandalore of Las Vegas.
It is based on single combat alone. If I have learned nothing else from CSI Las Vegas.
But yeah, check out our episode on Friday. New Pro and Noob on Friday. And then, like I said, I'll be guest hosting Bombad Cast along with Jerry, Joe Organa, and Darkside May. So check all of that out. Thank you also very much for joining us. Thank you to our lovely panelists this evening. We've had a wonderful time full of me not being able to stop myself from going on a masturbatory non sequitur. So thank you, everybody, for your patience and for joining us. May the force be with you, and for light and life.
For light, life.
And also the bad guy, maybe?
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
There's too many goddamn people for me to get off screen before the goddamn animation.